So hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in this video we are going to be looking at how to draft your basic pattern set in Style 3D as well. And we will load Avatar. Let's go and load Avatar. Okay, the Avatar is loaded. Now see, basic pattern set means you will create three folders in the folder of Style 3D. For example, I have Style 3D folder, Style 3D project. So we will go to Style 3D folder and create three folders. One is for garments, Style 3D garments. Garments means if you want to use the particular garment and change the way it looks, you can reuse that file as well. And for the projects, um, new folder and Style 3D projects. If you want to keep your kids, you can do kids with Style 3D as well. And now, as per now, we have loaded the avatar. Press D on your keyboard. Remember that I told you the pen tool is the most important tool in here. So, what will I do if I want to create a bodice? You can do it in either in 2D screen or 3D screen. This is your 2D screen and this is your 3D screen where you can see how the avatar is draping that itself. Now I press 2, it returns to the normal position. If 3 or 4, the shortcuts. 4 is the side view, 5 is the top view, 6 is the side view, 7 is nothing, 8 is the back view. If you want to take or render quick images of the outfit. For example, now see there is a blue cursor dot appearing near the pen tool. Click it and drag. See, you can see it is measuring how much length we are going. Again, click it, just drag it around the shadow and drag for the curve, and again go back to the same dot to continue building your rest of the garment. I hope it's clear. And this is your center front line. Just stop at the point, click to stop, and click on the another point to finish. Note that in your 2D pattern it will appear like this, but in your 3D pattern window it will appear like this one. So basically you have to turn off the cloth thickness. It is this third icon, uh, and last option to turn it off to see the right and wrong side of the fabrics. Now this is your fabric, this is your default fabric. Now how to shape your neckline? You will hit C on your keyboard to bring the edit curve tool, and you'll just drag how much ever curve you want. And if you don't want this much shoulder, Z on edit, Z for edit pattern tool, and just drag the armhole upside. You can do it with any dot that you have created. And to go in a straight way, press shift. There is this axis that comes. So it will snap to it and then you can pull up and down. So that is the half of the body. Now, in real life, you will place a fabric and turn it into on fold side, and then you will draft the front bodice, right? So, to do that, before you do that, go to your select and move tool. The shortcut is Q and select it. Hit Control C and Control R to replicate the back pattern. Now we have two things to work with. I'll tell you two different methods in this one. Maybe you want your front to be open or your back to be open in order to reference with your real life version of garments. Mostly, what happens, you have your opening at the back. If any garment is a blouse, or it might have a side opening with a zipper. We'll talk about that later. So basically, you have to use Z again to select one of the lines, that is the center front line. Click, right click on that, and you will see set to symmetric axis. Now it will open the other half of your bodice. Like in real life, I told you before this, no? You will draft it on full side, and then you will cut the fabric. So that is what this function does. Again, we'll do Control Z, select your middle line, the center front line, and right click, set to symmetric axis, and then you open the garment. Okay, like that in the 2D pattern and the 3D pattern. Now, for this, I said I'll show you another method to do that. You will press Control C R. It will replicate the pattern. Control C plus R. It will replicate the other side of the pattern. So, what happened just now is you will notice there are two separate pieces for this. Okay, that is for your right side, and this is for your left side. Okay, you have your patterns ready and you are having trouble to place your patterns, then what you will do? In Style 3D, if you press A, these are your points that you select the pattern and just put wherever you want. For example, see here, it is like, okay, that is it. Now select your front bodice, and I'll move it further so that I can select and press on this middle point. So your patterns are arranged formally. This is for beginners, and if you practice without using them, then you can use. Now, to hide these points, press A back. Then the points are gone. Now, how do you stitch this bodice? Okay, how do we do that is simply press on your segment sewing stitch, or you can hit N on the keyboard. So what it does, I'll show you. I'll explain different things. Since this is separated and this is not, we'll see we have to stitch manually each side. Okay? And then stitch your shoulders. Stitch your shoulders. Now, how are you stitching this? You will see this V kind of thing that is coming. If you are doing it wrong, if you are not matching the notches, I'll show you what happens wantedly. Okay, now this stitch is wrong while everything is right. Now press simulate. See that? It is twisted. We don't want that. Okay? Of course, you did a wrong stitch and you don't want to delete that stitch. So, what you will do is you hit D, which is Edit Sewing Tool, and click the stitch which is wrong, right click and reverse the sewing. Then your sewing becomes right and simulated. Okay, now that your first bodice is ready, now one more important thing. See, these are particle distance. I'll show the mesh. Okay, this is your triangular mesh which is used to construct your clothing. Okay, in this one. So it is now see very nicely into your property editor. When I select this pattern on 3D window, those properties appear here in the property editor, and the first one you notice is the particle distance, which is on 20. And because of the particle distance you can see the wear and tear here in your garments. The lower the better. For example, let's do 10. Now see, for this particular pattern and this particular pattern, let's say, now see, this is the difference between the particle distance. Now this is on 10. How much ever you drag, pull, nothing happens, no holes. But with the bigger particle distance, while you are dragging and everything, you can see some wear and tear. For example, I'll show here only. See that? While you're dragging it, for dragging and everything, you just press the left click. Okay, you're dragging it and it is showing some wear and tear. I'll show this side by side again. So now you select something in 3D window, the particle distance shows up as 20. I'll do this also 10. Now see the difference side by side. Now while you're pulling this, how much ever you pull, okay, there are no signs of tear. But in this pattern, while you're pulling, you can see the tear in the garment. So the higher the better. So basically we'll do it on 10. Okay, you need to understand these things, otherwise your garments will look tacky if you are doing the particle distance wrong. Okay, let me uncheck the mesh. So if you want to see the mesh, of course, so you go to this third icon and press that. You will see the mesh. The shortcut for that is Alt 2, translucent cloth Alt 3, cloth thickness is Alt 4. Let's stick to the textured surface, or mesh. We don't want translucent cloth. See, now if you are seeing this, the particle distance is on 10. Let's do it on way more, something like 6. Now it is much more smaller and much more high quality. You see, the particle distance is important in digital fashion. And if I do the mesh again, if I simulate it again, each and every time you create something with high particle distance, you have to put your particle distance at least with 10 or 12, depending on your computer configurations. At least 10 is a mandatory. The lesser the number, the higher the quality. The big change will be while you're working with like gathers or see. Okay, let's put it in this way. Now you can see the folds. I'll show you by pulling this. Now you see the crease here, right? It is very unnatural, unpretty, and all that stuff, no? Okay. The crease is unnatural in this pattern. I'll show you side by side with the crease example again. If you do the particle distance less, see that the more realistic it folds. Not unlike this one, which has this kind of creases. It is like a pointy triangle here. We don't want that. We want smooth curves flowing along the body of the avatar. So basically the particle distance is very very important factor while you're creating the garments. So let's jump into the creating your pattern set. So let's delete it and let's go to D. As I told you, I just want some of the basic patterns. So we'll just create a body, a sleeve, a skirt, tailored skirt. For example, to get an idea. So shape the neckline with C and you can see that it is coming with something like this, which I'm not a big fan of. So I'll edit it. Okay. So my editing is done. I'll select the edit pattern tool, right click, set to symmetric axis, and this I'll just copy as it is. Go to your select and move tool, Control C plus V if you don't want the two uh, body patterns like patterns to be separate and stitch fast. Now with this method, no, your stitching will be more accurate. If you're done stitching on one side, the other will stitch automatically by itself. Select your end, which is segment sewing tool, and see the magic. Now see that the automatic side is stitched. Now you can see here to here, and then the stitching is already done. I'll hit simulate. Now you can see some wear and tear here. For all the things, select all the patterns by dragging them with left click and hit the particle distance on 10 so that at least it is doable. Okay, so basic pattern is ready. So let's create some skirt. So basically you do have a square tool here. Press S on your keyboard and just just drag how much ever you want, or right click. You will see the band width, which is I want 1 inch, and not 1 inch, 6 inch, not it is 16, 6 or 5 inches and 1 inch belt. So it is created. It is with the same method. So I take my edit pattern tool, click on the middle line to open the belt, set to symmetric axis, and then your first and foremost belt is already ready. And you can hit Control C, Control V to copy paste that and hit A to place your patterns because you are a beginner and stitch them. Hide the arrangement points with pressing back A. Take your segment sewing stitch and stitch one side, and the second will automatically get stitched and simulated. Since these two patterns are already on 20, I don't think it is a good idea, so I'm going to change my particle distance to 10. And now we'll create the skirt. Now decide the length that you want. Her torso is more bigger, so I'm trying to create a pencil skirt. Now remember where you have taken the belt dot. See, this is the dot I'm talking about. From there, just draw a line, curve along the hip, and I want her skirt to end below the knee. And same. The skirt block is ready. Now I'm not doing any darts or something. Of course, we have a dart tool. I'm going to tell that where it is, and we have a dart tool. See, here it is. On the rectangle tool, we have a dart. Internal darts, everything is there. I'm going to show you in a later on video. So select the center front line and set to symmetric axis, same as that, and create your first skirt block. Copy paste, and the pattern will be there. And next, we will be going to arrangement points again. Select the pattern and place here. And unfortunately, it will place too high, but you have to drag them down. Hide your arrangement points by pressing A again. N means segment sewing stitch. Stitch one side and the other will get stitched by itself. Now you have to attach it to the belt. So since we have symmetric sewing on, the thing will get automatically stitched. That's it. So the basic dress of the pattern. Now let's make some sleeves. Okay, how do you do that? You have to do it on 2D window only. What I do, I like to drag the line, and I like to have curving point. We'll do a half of that, and this is what my hand's length is, 22 inches, and I am going to shift to connect to the point. There is one half of the line. Before you do that, convert this, select that point, right click, convert to the curve point. What it does is, while you're stitching to its armhole, no, that point disrupts your stitching. We don't want that. So basically, you will unfold with symmetric axis. And how to remove this one? Ca- Select the line and cancel the axis and delete the point. How to delete that? Take your edit pattern tool, which is Z, select the point, right click and delete the point. That's it. But don't delete this point because it is used in stitching. You can resize your hand's sleeve, or you can, you know, do whatever you want. I'm going to resize this side though, because, yeah. Now I think you will understand what I mean. Press A, select your sleeve pattern, and see that's too high. Select that middle dot and place it there. Now you might ask, Divya, why are we doing only one hand? Because we are going to duplicate the other hand on the other side. And hide the arrangement points as we usually do. Now take your N, which is segment sewing stitch, and select that. We have stitched the garment and hit simulate. Now, since the hand is too big, we will resize it. See, just select and resize it until you find it satisfying. until you are satisfied with your pattern piece. Now it's on 20. I'll do it 10 again. Now this is the point where I get um annoying curves. We'll remove that curve by decreasing the sleeve cap. So after that, what you will do is such a huge difference. You see that while you're dragging in something, the folds are realistic. You select the pattern and Control C, Control D. Control C, Control D for another side of the patterns. And then your stitching will also come. It gets placed and your basic pattern set is ready. You understand? This is your basic pattern set. One sleeve pattern, one basic bodice pattern, and one tailored skirt pattern without any dots on Style 3D. It's done. If you want to customize the measurements, I'll show you another way in another video. Until then, bye bye.